So hey guys, I'm kind of excited about this. What I'm going to do here is, this is my most requested sharpening video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen Smiling Wedge razor. This is a George Britain. This thing is around 200 years old. It's somewhere between 1780 and 1840. I've been waiting for one of these to come in so I could do this. A guy from Ireland sent this to me. Fucking Dublin, man. Yes, all the way from over there. So he wanted me to straighten this thing out. Now, he tried fixing the geometry on it so there is hone wear on it. He already has hone wear on it, so don't give me a hard time about putting hone wear on it because it's already there. Actually, he did a really good job on one side of the razor. The other side is going to need some work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it all the way from geometry correction, bevel set, to the finish stone. And so what I wanted to do is show you on the stone here, on the granite, as we do the wobble test. This one side is pretty good. Now, some people say that the wobble test doesn't work on a smiling razor. Well, it does, because I mean, if I take and push all the way over here, this thing will come up like that. That's not what we're talking about. I'm pushing opposite corners to see if it wobbles or there's any unevenness as far as it lays on the stone, and that's good. But the problem is, as we come over here, there's the problem right there. See that? Now these type of wobbles can be a real bitch. This is what I call a rolling wobble. Like other wobbles I've shown, even I think on my previous video, it would like clack, it clank, 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 clank back and forth. This one just kind of rolls up on the heel over here. This is up off of the stone right here. That's down, but when I push this down, this part actually stays down. It just brings the heel down. So what it's doing is it's rolling on a part on the back of the spine back here. This is the high spot right here. This is the part where all of this work is going to get done back here. So when I put it back on this on the granite here, you're going to see it's going to be nice and flat. It's going to be a whole lot better than it is now. And I can tell you right now, this is the reason this razor does not shave. The guy sent it to me because it was just a little bit beyond what he was comfortable doing, and he said he just couldn't get this thing to shave. I'm telling you, I'll get this thing to work. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go straight to the diamond plate. What I'll do first is I'm going to take a piece of tape on this edge and protect that. And we get a longer piece. And we're going to start on my 400. This side here is pretty good. Now, I believe when he was working on the geometry himself, he didn't use tape on the edge when he was doing this. So what I'm doing is I'm really, on this particular side, I'm just cleaning it up. I'm trying to get this smoothed out. I can see a high spot there in the center. That's actually on the good side. I'm kind of surprised. Did I show you the end here? This is a true wedge. There's barely any hollow to this thing. This thing is a really, really heavy razor. So yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. That might be about what we need on that. All right, so now on this side, this is the side that needs work. And what I'm doing is I'm focusing I'm really pressing down this. I'm leaning on this thing pretty good on this stone. I'm pressing on there about as hard as I can. What I'm trying to do is really work this part of the spine where that high spot is. So I got my thumb down here and I have my thumb here leaning on this. There's where it's working. It's working all the way back here. Hasn't even come up to the front there yet. I'm pressing about as hard as I can. If I had my pizza scale, I'd show you. It's several pounds worth. Let's see how she does. Still. At some point I may break through the tape. It's coming across. Okay, what I want to do is I want to bring it back here and test it on the granite. I have the tape on it. That's not bad. This is the bad side. Just barely a little on that. This one's fine. You see just that little bit of rock? All right, let's bring it back here. Try and get just a little bit more. If there's just a little bit left, it won't be too much of a problem. Stay there. Let me just okay, so that is flat. Okay, you see most of the wear, like I said, is down in here. It comes across, you know, up to here, but mostly it's back here. So what I'm going to do now is smooth out some of this wear on the spine. And I'm going to take it through the entire progression with tape on the edge. And what I'm doing here is just cosmetically making the spine look pretty. All right, we're not sharpening here yet. I just have to fix the spine so it looks pretty. There you go, that's better. That was a 1200 diamond, by the way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take it to my 2000. Again, we're just working the spine. All I'm doing is removing any of the marks, the scratches, and all of that from the diamond plates. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Good. All right, now the heavy side. Again, pitching it 45 this way, then back the other way to get rid of those marks. Just knocking this down. All right, good. That actually looks pretty decent. Let me get that spot there I saw. There's some metal there. Okay, not bad. All right, now this is my Shapton 5. I usually go from the diamond plate. I've been going to the 5 lately, but since that's such a, I mean, I go straight from the diamond to the 5. I put the 2 in between because there's just a lot of metal on this, and just figured something in between might make it a little easier. This is my Norton 8K. We're getting close. Nice. Getting shiny there. Okay, so we're getting close to being where we want on this. Let me just do a little bit without the slurry. This is my Naniwa 12K. Okay, I'm going to do one more step on this. Stay there. I'm going to get my board here. Okay, so this is a 1/4 micron diamond board. Now all I'm trying to do is just get a polish on the spine on the honeware part. Again, we're still not on the edge yet. That's a whole nother part. There's the one side, on the other side here. This was where the worst side was, that the more honeware was. Okay, so now it's time to take and peel the tape. But at this point, what I'm going to do, let me check it here. Here, you can come around here. Yeah, that's flat. That's flat right there. Come to this side, nice and flat. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you can show it back over here. I'm going to tape the spine, okay? I'm going to use tape on the spine when I hone the edge. Why do I do that? Because there's just way too much steel on here. And I don't want the bevel at the edge getting so huge that it's almost going all the way across the razor. So I have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2 layers of Super 88. And we get to start all over again. So now we're going to go back down to the 400. All right, so now this is the part where I think a lot of people wanted to see as far as the smiling thing. Because when you smile, when you have a smiling razor, you have to kind of roll it a little bit. You have to kind of start here and then kind of come up this way. But it's really not as much as people think, at least on this particular razor. And the way that I do this, especially when I'm on the metal, I'm going to use 2 hands, and I do that because I'm really leaning on it. Some people say that, well, I just put my hand up here to stabilize. I'm not. I'm pushing on that thing. So I can go a little bit here. And even when I do this, these half strokes, I'm still kind of rocking it. I kind of have it lifted up on the heel here, and then in the middle, and now I'm kind of lifting it up and hitting the toe. This is with 2 layers of tape. I don't like to go more than 2 layers, but I can see even with that, that bevel is fairly wide there. Not much up on the tip, which is fine. Oh, and also, you know, I wanted to say that regarding the 2 layers of tape, some people will say that, you know, you put layers of tape, it's going to take it out of range as far as bevel angle. Well, I did measure the razor up before I started this. And the razor, if you can see, I don't know if you can tell it's with the tape on, the razor's a little bit wider in the back than it is up in the front. Now, I initially thought that that was because it was worn in the front just due to honing or whatever. I don't know that it was, because the razor is about a 1/16 of an inch over 1 inch here, and it's about a 1/16 of an inch under up here. So basically it varies 1/8 of an inch from the toe to the heel. Now, as I measured the thickness of the spine is 30 thousandths thicker back here than it is up here. So if we put these numbers into the bevel calculator, the Dr. Matt bevel calculator, the bevel angle pretty much stays the same from the heel to the toe. As this is wider, the spine is thicker, and as the razor is narrower up at the toe, also the spine is thinner up here. So the bevel angle pretty much stays the same. All right, so without tape, the bevel angle is 15 degrees. With the 2 layers of tape, it's 17 degrees. 17 degrees is still well within the good performance range. I think in my video I said 16 degrees is the real sweet spot. This is the like 17.1, actually 16.9 to 17.1. It varies a couple tenths, but that's still pretty good. It's in the low 17s, so that's still good. 2 layers of tape are going to be fine. I don't want to go any more if I had to, only because as you layer more tape up, it starts to get squishy, and as you push on here and that spine starts to squish, your bevel angle starts to vary, and you're not going to get a real nice crisp edge. So 2 layers of tape is going to work for this. The thing when you're dealing with a razor like this, that's these heavy grinds, there is a lot of steel in contact with the stone. That looks good. So it just takes more work. I would say that it takes 3 times as much. I used to say that. I don't know if it's 3 times, but I'm guessing at least double, because there's just that much more steel. Again, I'm rocking. I'm on the heel here in the middle part, and then I kind of lift the heel up to get this toe. Can you see the wear on that? Okay, so now let's get some X's going here. And I am pushing on this. That thing cuts hair at 1K, so we're at the edge here. This is good on that. Let me get a little more water. We'll do some a little bit lighter passes. All right, so I just went upstairs and I snagged this out of the fridge. I had to sneak it out. But let's test this. Yeah. Beautiful. There. All the way in the back. All right, so we're good on that. So now that bevel is set. So at this point, we're just going to work it. This is my 1200 Atoma. Again, I'm leaning here and kind of lifted the toe a little bit, and then as I move it through, I'm pushing down with this and lifting the heel. Beautiful. Okay. Again, I'm going to go to the 2000. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the tape. All right, so I just put couple new layers of tape on there. Not additional layers. I just took the old stuff off, put new tape on, because on those diamond plates tends to wear on the tape, and I want to keep that angle. The good thing about using tape, it makes stuff go a lot faster. Can you imagine if I was having to wear all that wear on the spine down when I was doing this? It would take forever. Now I'm just working the edge. Watch the undercut there. All along. Heel, toe. Rock, heel, toe. Alright. That's actually pretty good. Alright, that's it for the 2. 5. And I'm leaning on it. That's actually quite a bit of, the slurry gets fairly dark considering we're just doing the edge. Okay, that's it on the 5. All right. Norton 8K. I always use the same stones in my sharpening videos, and if I never say it, there's a million questions. What stone are you using, dude? Sometimes people ask me what I'm feeling for when I do this. Well, first off, it should be smooth. But really what I'm feeling for is something that I guess you could say that I'm not feeling for, meaning I'm waiting for the feeling. If it changes, when it changes, then it stops changing. And when it just stays the same, that's when I'm done. And since I set the bevel back at 400, I mean, really not much has changed. The bevel's set. We're just kind of polishing this edge up. And that's it on the 8. Okay, So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and put the edge under the microscope. I want to see how it looks, make sure that everything's looking good. I'm going to change the tape again. Then we'll come back here and I'll do a pre-finished stone, and then I'm going to do a finisher. And yeah, that's what we'll do. Take a look. Swap the tape out. Almost done.
Will we pause the video?
What's that?
Want me to pause the video?
Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do here is a pre-finish on a 12K. Now, some people can use 12K as a finisher, and I do. But you'll see the stone that I'm going to use. After this. Now this is the Naniwa 12K Superstone. I've been using this for years. And GS6 Gun just did a video on this stone. Best bang for buck finisher out there. Best, finishing stone. I totally agree with him. It was a great video. I'll put a link to that video in the description. But someone just emailed me, said they had a Shapton 12K and they'd look at the edge after they used it and it looked worse than their 8K. I agree. These things are the best 12K stones. When I do it, I just do it with water. I don't know, maybe I usually do about 10-12 passes. Being this is this heavy grind, I might do a few more, but I can actually feel it getting a little sticky at the edge. When Glenn did it, he actually built a slurry and did some work with the slurry as refreshing the edge, which is kind of what I do with an 8K and then the finished stone, but he just did it all on the 12, which is fine. Okay. So, now, bring it up. What we're gonna do, so I'm gonna take it on the finished stone, we're gonna go on my bench, and we'll do it. But here, let me show you on the tomato here. Ooh, look at that. Just barely breathe on that thing. Oh, she's gonna be pissed that I'm cutting up her tomato. It's an organic one too. All right, come on this way. All right, you can cut it. Okay, so this is my finished stone. The gentleman who sent me the razor, in his little note that he included, as per the instructions, well done, Ryan, he said he wanted an Escher finish. Technically, I don't have an Escher stone. This stone right here is a Franconian hone. A Franconian hone is a German mined hone, and my understanding is that they mine these near the Escher mines. So these are actually pretty close. I don't know if you can see, but this thing actually has some reflective quality to it. I mean, I burnished it. It's not as hard as, say, a translucent Arkansas stone, but it's almost there, and it does impart its own kind of cool feel to it. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use water, but I'm going to use soapy water, and there's a story behind this. Someday I'll tell you. The soapy water makes for a wonderful solution. I don't know, you could probably use oil, but this stuff works great. It's slippery, doesn't evaporate as quick. This is a slow stone. It's kind of similar to an Arkansas stone in as far as its speed goes, but that's why I took it to a 12K instead of the 8, because this is really just more of a polisher. Not quite as much as a translucent, but like if the other stone was a 12 and a translucent is a 20, this is probably maybe a 16, 18, something, I don't know. Those are just numbers I make up, don't hold me to it. I don't know, what kind of grit equivalent this thing is. But it does give an awesome edge with a great, comfortable feel. I've put a couple on these lately. You guys out there who've sent me razors in the last couple of weeks know. I originally, well, I used this on a couple of stones that it was getting very sticky. The razor was getting sticky, and it was getting so sticky so fast that I really felt that I couldn't reach the potential of the edge. So I put some of this soapy water on there. The problem with this, though, is that it just stays slippery, and you don't, as far as when you're done, usually like on some stones, you'll know you're done when it starts to get sticky. Well, it's not going to get sticky with this stuff. So I just work it until I feel. And what I'm doing here is, I don't know if you can see, but I am, first off, I'm going 45. I start heel, middle, toe. There is a little bit of roll to it. Probably hard to see, but I'm hitting from end to end of that end to end of the edge. That feels really, really good on there. Wow. Very nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to strop it. That's a finished edge. I will strop it, and when I come off of the stone, I leave, especially if I'm using 2 layers of tape, I leave the tape on there the first time I strop it. I don't know if you really need to do that, but I do it. And then after that, you don't need to. But so that's it, guys. That's how I hone a smiling wedge razor. So what you saw me do is I really had to sharpen it, go through the process twice. I had to do the spine with the edge covered, and I took and I polished that out. And I'll show you some pictures here. But then I covered the spine and did the edge. So you take it through this whole process twice. And I think what I'll do is I'll do a shave with it just to make sure before I send it back how she does. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you real soon. All right, so here we go. We're going to give this a go. We're going to see how she does. All right. Moment of truth. This thing's right around 200 years old, so let's see how she does. Oh my. Oh yeah, very nice. Ooh. Now that is awesome. Now that was a pretty awesome shave. Sometimes I even impress myself. As old as that razor was, and the condition that the edge was in, and to bring it back, to get a shave like this, wow. I'm impressed. And I know the owner. I know, Ryan, you're going to love this thing. All right, so let's recap this. As far as this razor, this George Britton razor, I don't know if I said, but this is a British razor. And what it has on there, and what I've been told, is if you're to look here, there's that anchor on it. What that means is that it is not Sheffield steel, but Birmingham steel. Regarding the cosmetics of the razor, you know, what I did is I did clean up the honeware that was there. You can see that there's, you know, reflection on there, whereas before it was kind of rough. Now that's going to be something that the owner's going to have to decide if he wants to leave there, because, you know, the rest of the razor, I didn't do anything with it. In fact, he cleaned it up a little bit himself, but, you know, it has that rustic look to it. He may think that the polished metal where the bevel where the honeware is might not fit. I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool because there's some at the edge and there's some at the top. But if he doesn't like it, he could just take some sandpaper on there and kind of rough it up and get it to match the rest of the razor. So I'm extremely happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, that's my most requested video on how to do one of these, and it turned out fantastic. In one of my other videos, I said usually these old heavy grinds, I really don't do anything with them because they're just not great shavers, although they can be. I can make them into great shavers, as we did with this. It does take a lot of work, and that's why a lot of guys who hone razors will say straight out front they don't do these. They don't do old heavy grind razors because there is a lot of work, as you can see. So again, I appreciate you watching. If you made it all the way to the end, I think this is going to be my longest video that I've ever done. But I figure if Musty can do it, I can do it. So again, you guys have a great day, great night, enjoy your shave,